Hi, Sean. How's it going?
Good, Tiff. How are you today?
I'm doing good. I'm really looking forward to diving into the Next.js and Contentful project and walking through the docs. Specifically, I'm really excited to walk through them with you because you are the creator of these. So, that's even more fun.
That's right. And we know if we run into any bugs that it's all my fault then too.
Exactly. We know who to blame.
That's right. That's right.
Perfect. So, the purpose of this learning in public is really to the steps taken even before we are setting up with Stackbit. So, setting up a contentful organization, a contentful space, starting with setting up a Next.js project. For this, we're going to be using the example project that Stackbit provides. I think this is a great way for anyone who is curious about Stackbit and even curious about Contentful, working with these different technologies, to start really diving into it in a friendly way.
Exactly. And for a little more context, this example project that you're going to start with, it's ready to go with both Next.js and Contentful. And as we'll see here, that there's a script baked into this, so that as you set up the Contentful account, you can then import some placeholder content. So getting started is really just a matter of setting up the Contentful space and everything, and then we'll be ready to go.
Exactly. Perfect. All right, so let's dive into it. So if I scroll down a little bit here, we can see the first step is to set up a Next.js example project. So I'm just going to copy this here and open up my terminal. And I know for anyone watching, I'm probably going to get like comments on, you're using light mode. What is this? Okay.
Oh yeah,
Uh,
light mode. It's great. It's great. Yeah, or
Hi.
something.
You know what? I'm actually going to copy this first one because I just wanted to quickly change the name of the project. Let's change it to,
Well, maybe you can make that a little bit bigger because I think that
yeah, good call, good
easier
call.
for folks to see.
And um, here, let's see.
Ah, much better.
How's
Much
this?
easier for me at least. Yes.
Perfect. Yeah, me too. Okay, so example, and we will call this, let's just call this example project. I'm just giving it a new name because I have used this project before, and I just want to be able to know which one it is. Perfect. Okay, so now I need to, I think
Oh,
this
it
is,
did
oh,
not. What a problem here.
what? Oh, no, it didn't. Let me go
Oh
back.
yeah, can you go back there? So, oh no, go back to your terminal for a second. I think that
Need to install the following packages.
invalid. It's at the bottom here. It says invalid values. She
Choices.
said example. Oh yeah, yeah. Okay, okay. So when you but why don't you paste the command in again, the full command
Okay,
in again, and then I'll kind of explain what's going on.
perfect. Here, let me just gonna do fresh. Okay, explain to me.
There we go. Okay. So your npx create stackbit app latest, which gives you that's going to be the latest script that we have, and then your dash dash example is that's the example option, and then the next string after that. So tutorial next.js contentful. This is the name of the example that we're downloading. So we need to keep this as it is. So you want tutorial next.js contentful, and
Yes.
then if you just ran this command, what create stackbit app is going to do is going to put this project in a tutorial next.js contentful directory, but you can rename it. So if you want to rename your example project, you would then leave everything as it is and then just space and add your directory name now.
Perfect. So for here, Sean, add my directory name now, you said, or after enter?
Yep, yep, just right there. So no, hit another space, and now you can add it.
Okay, so let's call this, yeah, let's call this, I'm trying to think something more exciting than example, but I guess uh, let's do example project. So like this is fine, you're saying.
We can be boring for now. This is fine. Yeah,
Boring for now. The naming is always the hardest of everything.
always, always, yes.
Good to go.
Okay, and now we let's see. Oh, and contentful is misspelled. So if you Yeah, tutorial Next.js Contentful. There it is.
Perfect. This is why we eat our own dog food,
This is right. This is
Oh,
right.
perfect. All right. We got this. We're doing this. Perfect.
Right. Yes.
Okay, so installing some dependencies here, sending up Git. Perfect. Example project is ready. So let's cd inside of that, which I called it example project. Okay, so now we're inside example project, but at this moment, if I go back to the documentation, we're going to kind of switch gears here and set up and connect with Contentful. So I have open here on my second tab, excuse me, I'm logged into Contentful and I'm going to start from scratch. So if this is your first time in Contentful or you're not as familiar with it, first thing we can do is go inside and create a new organization. So let's call this organization January 12th example organization, where example is the name of our fake company or whatnot.
Great. It's great.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
All right. So now we can see we've created a new organization. Now that we have our new organization, if we go inside of it here, or we are inside of it, I should say, we can add a space though. So let's go here. And for this, I am going to add in community space, continue, and example space, and confirm and create.
Great.
Perfect. So we can see we have a new space here. And if we look back in the docs here, we can see the next step is to generate a management token. And maybe before I generate the management token, we can kind of touch on why this is required to generate a management token. And I know if we scroll down a bit, we can kind of understand as well as far as importing content goes, it's required, as well as our space ID. So I guess that would be the next step.
For sure. And this looks a little bit different, likely depending on which content source you're using, because we're working with Contentful. I can speak to this in terms of the language that Contentful uses. And the way that Contentful is set up is we've already seen you have organizations and then they have spaces in there. And as you can think of a space as like basically a workspace. And so all the content that you're going to access in that workspace, you're going to do through the API. And there are delivery tokens and preview tokens, which we'll see that you can use that give you access to that content. The preview token is going to give you access to all of the content in that space. And depending on how you configure it. And then the delivery token is going to give you only published access to that content. And so we'll see that we use that to access content through Stackbit. And we're also using it to access to pull it into the site. And we can talk a little bit more about that when we eventually get there. But for this particular case, we will be using it to pull into the site. Now, you just mentioned the management token, which is also called a personal access token. This is specific to your user and not the site. And what it does is it gives you write access so that you can write content back via the API. And we're going to use this in kind of two capacities. One, we're going to use it today so that we are able to import this placeholder content when we set up the site. And then as we'll see, once we start to integrate Stackbit in future episodes, that we'll use the management token to be able to actually manage that content through Stackbit. So Stackbit is basically sending requests on your user's behalf. But for now, we're just going to be setting up some content.
Yeah, exactly. And kind of like you mentioned, Sean, even if you already have content that you want to use in Contentful, you're not necessarily using it to import the example content that is provided in the documentation. You'll still need to have this token and follow these steps essentially, and store it in your environment file. So let's go here into settings. One sec here. Where is my settings here?
Oh, you're in the organization. So this is the tricky part. You have to actually go into the space. So now if you click in that top left corner.
Oh, perfect. I clicked on the space.
Oh, you got it. It worked. It worked. Okay. So now you
Good.
can go into the settings.
Settings and then API keys. And we were speaking of content management tokens. So let's go here and generate a new personal token. Give this a unique name. Let's call this Sean and Tiff.
All right. And just a quick note that because this is writing back to the source and not just pulling content from it, this is the super, super, super sensitive token that you definitely don't want to share. It would enable anybody basically to act on your behalf to write content back to Contentful.
Exactly. So I'm going to store this temporarily up here where you cannot see it. There we go. And then I'll store it also when we get into our code. Perfect. So now we have our management token, and we can go into the content delivery preview tokens here. And let's go. It's add API key, right, Sean?
Correct. Yep.
Perfect. There we go. Okay, so we can see our space ID, and then is hidden is the other access tokens that you were referring to. So at this point, let me open up VS Code. Actually, let me open up our project in it. 1 second here. Perfect. And we can see here we have an environment example, and then also too, this is where we're going to input these space IDs and tokens. So I'm going to just take this off screen though, and keep it a little bit hidden at this point, and then copy this. So let's go ahead. Space ID. Delivery token. And access token. Because, yeah, access token / preview token. Perfect. And then also to off screen, I'm going to quickly rename this environment file from .env.example to just .env.
Great. Great.
Perfect. Save, and I'll bring it back on screen here. Actually, let's go back to the docs. Because I think that's right. For right now, we're pretty much done with Contentful. Wouldn't you say, Sean?
That's true. You can keep it up so that we can check that the import was successful. And you had generated these API keys, but and you have all of them, which is great. We'll need them eventually. But the next step that we're going to add here is we're really just going to import the content. And for that, you just need the Contentful space ID and the Contentful management token. And as you see this command here, you're going to actually paste those directly in the terminal because that command isn't going to automatically pick up the .env file. So it's good you put them in the .env file, but we'll come back to that step.
Thank you. Thank you for calling that out, because I believe I've made that mistake before. So I get ahead of myself here. All right.
It doesn't hurt. You're doing it all at one time. It's great. Yeah.
And I won't share my screen for this part either, but I've just copied that command, and I'm just going to fill in the space ID and management token.
And basically so you see where the two equal signs are, you're taking the ellipses or the 3 consecutive periods, deleting those and replacing those with the space ID and the Contentful management token. And again, you saw that your space ID you can get either from the URL or from that API, from the API screen with API keys screen within the settings of that space. And then the management token came from your user token.
And then I just run that inside of the project.
Yep.
Just running. Yep. Now
Just in the root directory. Perfect. Yep. And it should take a couple seconds, and then it looks like it was successful. So now if you went back into Contentful, you should see some content there.
All right. Now, I had Contentful open. Give me a sec here. This is the problem with working with so many screens. There we go.
Yes, understand.
So if I go back into content model or
you have some content models you can see, and then if you go to content, you should see the actual content that is associated to those models. So this is great. It worked. And even if you go to media, there's Actually, I don't know if this site has any. Yeah, there is a picture of a sandwich.
A
Great.
classic. I remember it always makes me like crave a sandwich when I see it. Perfect. Okay, so if I go back into the docs, I'll just minimize Contentful for now. What is the next step? So we done this. We can see all the content models and entries. And I jumped ahead. I already did this at the beginning, generating those
Mhm.
API keys and setting my environment variables. And then as I just want to call out again, changing the .env example to just .env, of course. All right, we've done that. Now, okay, here comes the exciting part. Let's run the project.
All right, let's see if it works.
Mhm. All right, open up. npm run dev.
And there it is.
There it is.
Amazing. Amazing.
Perfect. One sec here. With this one, should there be the image coming up, Sean?
Yeah, I said it was a sandwich and then realized that we changed the style of this particular site, but we, I guess, didn't change the alt text or description for that particular image. So it's it says it's an image, but it's a, I don't know, some sort of sun-like graphic. But yeah, that's the image there. So if you changed the image in Contentful and refreshed, you would get the updated and published it, then you would get the updated content. I think in the next video, I believe, is where we'll go into that ability to pull into draft content specifically, and we can talk a little bit about why that is at that time.
Exactly. But this has been a great first step. And I really appreciate, I really love, I don't know, I love learning in public and even at the beginning, troubleshooting something simple, but it's mistakes that we all, a spelling mistake or anything like that, that we all have made or make. So it's just nice. It's refreshing to see people make those and learn in public.
100%. Yeah. And learning how to solve those and roll over those is it's how we get better and more efficient over time.
Totally agree. Thank you, Sean, so much. And I'll link the docs that we covered down today down below. And I'm looking forward to the next session of learning with you.
Fantastic. See you next time, Tiff.
Bye, Sean.